This is section 2D of Manage Pages tutorial. In this tutorial we will be discussing how to insert images onto pages within your website. There are several ways that you can do this depending on how many images you have to insert. So we'll be going over those two methods. I have already got our test page open in the CMS view here, and we also have it open in an adjacent tab on the live website. So depending on how many images you have to insert, you might want to actually upload your images before you go into your edit fields here. So I'll show you how you do that. Again, in the Manage Pages menu to the left, we have the Image and File Manager. And if you click on that, which I've already done, I've opened it in an adjacent tab. This lists all of the images and files that you've uploaded to your website, and you have the ability to upload your files at this point. If you're uploading a lot of images that are related to each other, you might actually want to further segment or create a hierarchy within your website by using this add folder here. Today I'll be uploading a whole lot of images of flowers, so I'm actually going to create a subfolder for them to go into by clicking on that add folder option there. Creating this add folder here, I'm going to call these flowers. Just pressing on save, like so. So for the tutorial today, I've already created some images which are ready to upload, which I'm keeping on my desktop. So I'm just going to minimize this window here, and I have a little folder called flowers with some JPEG images. I've already optimized my images here in that I have made them small in file size and also appropriately sized for the web, so they're not gigantic images. You can do this in any kind of photo editing program like Photoshop, and there are several free alternatives on the web. And you can even, a lot of the time, if you have a Windows based computer, you can choose to make your images smaller through several different methods. So today, instead of uploading all of these images one at a time, I'm actually going to bulk upload them by sending this folder or creating this folder as a zip folder. I'm using a Mac today, so I just have to double click on it and select this compress option. It's very similar in Windows. You're usually right clicking on it, and send to zip folder would be your option. So selecting that creates a zip folder, which I'm just going to drag so that you can see it here. So I have my actual folder and then my zip folder, which is my compressed folder. So if we go back into our CMS view here, I'm going to click on this upload a new file. And so clicking on the upload file brings up a new screen here, so I can navigate to where this file is stored on my computer. So if I click on the upload a file button here, it's going to ask me to choose the file or zip folder that I want to upload. So I have already stored those zip folder on my desktop there, so I'm just going to select it, press open, and the web console immediately detects that I have uploaded a zip file, and it's asking me if I want to extract the contents, and yes, I do. So if you select yes, it's going to unpack that zip folder and then upload all of those files. And we're going to set our resize image to don't resize. And we're going to select that flowers folder that we created before. So if you do want to put images into folders, just make sure that you actually create your folder before you start the upload process. We have the opportunity to, of course, add another file or return to the file listing and then press on the upload button. If you want to interrupt or cancel, you can also press the cancel button here. So it's going to do its thing. And as I mentioned, I want to go away and have a cup of tea at this point. There we go. Okay, so my images have now uploaded into the Image and File Manager. And we can see here that my flower images have uploaded quite nicely, but at the same time it's already put some kind of temporary files. I'm going to get rid of these. So it's probably one of the disadvantages of a zip folder is that it's going to create temporary files like that, which is annoying. So in which case you might want to select them either one at a time or highlight them all and upload all at the same time. So that's what. And by that I mean when you're in the upload a file section, clicking on upload a file rather than going with the zip folder, you can actually highlight all of these and click on open and they will upload that way. I would recommend. But there we go, you can see them there. These flower images are in there. And I can, as you saw, delete them at any time by pressing on the little garbage can icon, which is the delete button. And we can manage our pictures as well at any point too. So now that we have uploaded some images, we can insert them into our page. So we will go back to our Manage Pages view of the test page that we've been working on this whole time, and we're going to insert some images. So all we need to do is place the cursor where we want to insert the image. And I'm going to put this one right here at the beginning. We're then going to pick our image icon here from the menu. It just looks like a little picture. When you click on that, it's going to come up with a pop-up and it's going to ask us where the image is located that we are going to be working with. So we just uploaded a whole lot of images to our server. So what I'm going to do is click on the Browse server here. And it's going to pop up with all of the images that we've recently added to the site. And I can choose any one of these flower images that we uploaded previously. I'm going to go with this one here. So once we have selected the image that we've got a few options that we're going to use to just optimize this image. It's come up with its native size here at 736 by 552 pixels, which is really, really, really big for an image. So just to have a look at it, I'm going to set it at around 350 pixels. And you can see here this little lock icon is on, which means that it's going to size it proportionally. If I undo the lock, I can resize it not proportionally, but I wouldn't really recommend doing that. We can also add a border around the picture if we want to. I'm not a huge fan, so I'm going to set that as 0. And the other things here is this H space and V space, which is horizontal space and vertical space. This just gives the picture a little bit of breathing room when it has text up against and next to it. So I usually recommend setting that between, say, 10 and 15 pixels. So in this example, we're going to set it as 10 and 10. And here we have the alignment, so we can set it so that the text flows around the image. What we're going to have is an image and the paragraphs are going to flow around it so that it's not sticking out and on its own. So I'm going to set it to flow to the left. In fact, what I'll do is I'll show you what happens if I set it to not set, and then you can see the difference between setting it to flow left and right. So here it is, it's popped in and it's got not set. So you can see the image is there and the paragraph or the text starts at the end of the picture. So if I then press save and go into my test page and refresh it, there we go. So not particularly fantastic, and it's also probably a little bit big in this content area here as well. So we'll go back in, click on the image, and if we click on that picture icon here again, it's going to bring up that same menu and we can keep adjusting it until we're happy with it. So as I said, that 350 pixels is still looking a little bit big, so I'm going to change that to 250, and I'm going to set my alignment this time to the left. Okay. You can see this time text now flows around, and if we save, and refresh the page again, there we go. Flows around it a lot better, and we can see here that has that 10 pixel padding or breathing room around there. So we possibly would go and like maybe adjust, a line break here just so that it flows a little bit better around it, or play around with the sizing if you wanted to be really fussy about it. But yeah, it's really up to you. I'm going to insert a second picture again. This time I'm going to put it in this section here, and I'm going to align it to the right. So we're going to have pictures kind of zigzagging down our page. So you can see our test page is starting to look quite interesting at the moment. So before I showed you how we would select an image that we have already uploaded, but in this example here I'm now going to insert an image from my desktop, one that I haven't uploaded previously. So I'm just going to click on, again, insert image, and I'm going to click on the upload option here. I'm going to browse to the location where I have it on my desktop, and it's this one here, Spring Flowers. I'm going to press open, and then, very important, I'm going to click this button here which says send it to the server. It's going to upload the image for me now, and depending on how big the image is, can take anywhere from 10 to 30 seconds, possibly longer if your internet connection is as bad as mine. Here we go. So 250 pixels again, similar to what we did with the other one. I'm going to give it again horizontal space and vertical space, and this time I'm going to align it to the right and press OK. And you can see there it has popped it in along the right hand side, so we're zigzagging along. And if we save our page again and refresh our test page, we can see that change. There we go. So the text has flown around it here, and because this one, the sentences aren't quite as long, it hasn't come all the way around down the bottom as well, but that page is starting to look rather fun. Okay, so apart from images that we have uploaded ourselves to our Image and File Manager, you can also link to images that are hosted externally. So if you click again on the image link here, you see that we have the option to put in a URL to an image. This is technically called hot linking, so where we're linking to an image that is being hosted not by us, and I wouldn't recommend doing it if it's to an external site that's not affiliated with you. But a good example of an image that you might want to link to is, say, something that you have maybe on your corporate Facebook account. So I've opened up Snap's Facebook account here, and I'm in their photos here, and I'm just going to have a look at this one here, and I'm going to link to save this image. So if I copy the image location, this is going to copy the URL to my pasteboard. I go back into the CMS and I'm going to put my URL here. Again, I'm going to make it smaller than it is because it's gigantic. Give it 10 pixels of breathing space all the way around, and I'll align it to the left so that my images are going to be zigzagging down the page. So there we go. We have that there. If we save it, and refresh our test page again, we now have 3 images, one for each section that we have been talking about, and our page is looking pretty amazing at this point. So apart from going in and resizing images through the actual image button, you can actually sort of resize them in the CMS view itself by clicking on the image and then just dragging on the handles. We can make it larger and smaller this way. So that's just like a quick and dirty way of resizing images. I recommend though that you do kind of size it smaller to begin with and then just make your minor adjustments this way. But it can be useful, similar to how we were talking before with this one here, where there was still slightly too much space around the bottom of this image here. So if I just fractionally size it down, we should have that paragraph flow around a little bit better now. So if I save the page and refresh, we can see, hopefully, that that's fixed that little bit there. There we go. We've got that paragraph flowing around a little bit better now. Okay, so this is probably a bad example of turning an image into a clickable link. So even though this is now a clickable link, it's not very obvious in this test page here as to why it's a link and why it would even be connecting to the contact page. So I've just opened up in another tab here a recent site that we've launched where they do use clickable images on their front page. So all of these here images that have been turned into links that redirect to the pages that are in question, and you'll find that your site probably has something similar. And that concludes the tutorial on how to insert images.